The most common form of exercise on this planet is cardio, all right? When everybody wants to get in shape, when they want to lose weight, they want to have a more active lifestyle, the first thing everybody goes for is more cardio, right? Whether that be walking on the incline treadmill, Stairmaster, cycling, swimming, whatever it may be. Cardiovascular exercise, that is what everybody goes for first when they want to achieve a great physique and they want to be more healthy overall. All right. It is the most common form of exercise, but it is also the most misinformed and misconceived form of exercise again on the planet. All right. People are doing this cardio that they don't know what it's truly doing for or to their body. Everybody tries to go as hard as they possibly can, right? Thinking that that is the best way to do it. After a long day of work, a long day of sitting in a chair, looking at a computer, after work, they get a good meal in, whatever, they go to the gym and they do any form of cardio that gets them the most tired, the most out of breath, so that afterwards, again, when they're totally out of breath, they can feel like this is what it's supposed to feel like. Like, I just did something so great for my body. I got to do it again tomorrow. Completely out of breath after an hour of cardio, right? And that is exactly what's killing your performance every single day. You are overtraining now rather than undertraining. And so to understand cardio and how to have the most intentionality and structure behind it, it's a lot simpler than people think, all right? And it's all about zones of cardio. The zone of your heart rate and what it's in, right? 50 to 60% of your max heart rate, maybe 80 to 90% of your max heart rate. There are zones of cardio that are so crucial to understand so that you are not overtraining, not undertraining, but that your cardio and your training is matching the demands of your mission for business, for work, for your family responsibilities, for life. And it all comes down to, again, zones of training. Zone 1, where it's very low intensity, or zone 5 on the other spectrum, where it's very intense, where you should be out of breath, right? And everything in between, zones 2, 3, and 4. And then, like I said, zones 1 and 5. So understanding these is exactly how you're going to get to that best version of yourself and allowing your training to work for you and not against you. So today, obviously, we are talking about zones of cardio so that you can fully understand it and use it to your best of your abilities, not overtraining, not undertraining, doing it with what works perfectly for you. So let's get right into it. Okay, so getting right into it, like I explained, there are zones 1 through zones 5 of cardiovascular exercise, no matter what it may be: sprinting, walking, running, cycling, Stairmaster, swimming, whatever, elliptical. Like I said, it doesn't matter what form of cardio. It's all about the zones and the zone that your heart rate is in. Again, 60 to 70%, 70 to 80, 80 to 90, 90 to 100% of your maximum heart rate. Right? And if you don't know what your maximum heart rate is, there are multiple calculations that you can find online. If you don't have a specific smartwatch or an Oura Ring or a Whoop, something that can tell you what your maximum heart rate is, right? And how you find that out is you do a 4-minute test of sprinting as hard as you can. Maybe it's sprinting, maybe it's Stairmaster, maybe it's the assault bike, if you're familiar with that. 4 minutes of something so high intense where you can see what your maximum heart rate by the end of 4 minutes. That is how you do it, right? But the maximum heart rate, and it's all about your zones. So getting into the first one, zone 1 of cardio. This is that cardio that is so low intense. It is basically just walking at 2 miles per hour, at 1 mile per hour, right? That is how simple and how low intense zone 1 cardio should be. You may be thinking, right, what is the point of that? Cardio, the common thought process of cardio is to be totally out of breath. Again, right, totally exhausted by the end of it. But that is not how you structure your cardio intentionally, very intelligently, right? And so again, zone 1, very low intensity. This is all about recovery, all about proper blood circulation, circulating healthy blood cells around your body after a hard session yesterday, right? And then, of course, just movement. You want to burn some calories. You don't want to turn on that sympathetic nervous system. You want to make sure that you're getting recovery. This is basically active recovery, if you've ever heard the sense, right? On your rest days, if you're already lifting every single week and you want to integrate intentional cardio into your weekly regimen, boosting blood circulation without having it too intense to where you are taxing your body, taxing your muscles or your nervous system. So zone 1 cardio is for those rest days where you want movement, you want to get some activity, but you want it to be very low intensity and focused all on recovery and repair. Zone 2, however, is just a little bit more intense than that, right? Slightly more intense. And what this is for is your aerobic base, building that process that happens in your body that causes fat oxidation, the burning of fat tissue, the breakdown of fat tissue for energy during this type of cardio, right? And during this type of cardio, you're still in a parasympathetic nervous system. This is your nervous system where you are in that rest and digest mode, right? You are not thinking about a high heart rate, where your heart is pumping out of your chest, where you are very alert, where you are aggressive. This is where you are calm, right? That parasympathetic nervous system. You want to stay in that calm state. You don't want to turn on your sympathetic nervous system in zone 2 cardio. That's not what this type of cardio is for. It is solely for burning fat, burning that excess body fat, and building your aerobic base. And we'll talk about the difference between aerobic and anaerobic, right? But until then, Zone 2, slightly more intense than Zone 1, and Zone 2 is all about those morning walks. It's not your rest day. You want to get some cardio. You had a hard day yesterday with a very intense workout session, maybe a chaotic day at work. The next day, this is when Zone 2 cardio is best. It's still about recovery, not as much as Zone 1, obviously, right? But you're not turning on that sympathetic nervous system, causing any cortisol spikes. Zone 3, as you can tell, it's in red, and I didn't write anything here. Can you guess why that may be? It's because I am not a fan of Zone 3 cardio. Not saying that it has no benefits whatsoever, right? You can still build your aerobic base or anaerobic base, right? But Zone 3 cardio is just in the middle. It's in the gray zone, and I don't do it. I see no point to do it. It's not intense enough for a Zone 4, right? Where you're going to get all the benefits that we'll talk about in a second from a Zone 4 cardio training session. But it's also too intense to get any benefits from Zone 2, where you are getting those recovery benefits without turning on the sympathetic nervous system, causing fat oxidation, burning that fat, obviously for energy, getting lean. Zone 3 cardio, not intense enough, but also too intense to get any of the right benefits that I am looking for. Some people incorporate it in their training regimens. I don't see a need for it. You can do your own research on that, of course, if you want to. But Zone 3, I don't do it. If you're a high performer, I suggest you don't do it as well, because there's no point in it and you're just wasting your time with it. That may just be my opinion, though. Zone 4, a little bit more intense than Zone 3 and obviously Zone 2. Zone 4 is all about that lactate threshold. Lactic acid, I'm sure you're familiar with the term when those muscles burn, right? Even during a strength training session, when you're doing 4 sets of 10 reps, you put on a lot of weight, you can only get 10 reps out. And that burning feeling that you're feeling in your muscle is lactic acid, all right? And during Zone 4 is when lactic acid is the most prominent. All right. So you're building your lactate threshold. You're building the ability to endure that pain, endure that burn, right? Building your lactate threshold, building your anaerobic base. This is cardio without oxygen, without air. So it's more so burning fat storage for energy, right? Which is good. Anaerobic, a little bit different than aerobic exercise, right? They're very different. Aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic exercise is all about that oxygen. It's all about burning fat for energy for that session. Anaerobic is without air, all right? And it's going to your stored energy for energy, right? It's taking from your carbohydrates, for example. So it's not thinking about fat oxidation here in this Zone 4. Anaerobic exercise is all about needing quick energy. It doesn't have enough time to get that energy from your fat cells. It has to get it faster because this is more intense training. So anaerobic exercise is more so focused on burning your food, what you eat for quick energy, your carbohydrates, right? And so that's anaerobic. That's what Zone 4 is for, and just building that mental toughness. Zone 4 is hard. It's hard to be in a Zone 4 where your heart rate is in that 70 to 80 to potentially 90% of your max heart rate. And that is where you get a lot of benefit. I think zone 4 is awesome, right? And zone 4, you want to do this about 1 to 2 times per week, especially if you're a high performer, right? You can get some great benefits from it, both mentally and physically, obviously. Let's talk about zone 5. All right, zone 5 is obviously the highest intensity form of cardio, and this is that 90 to 100% of your maximum heart rate. This is sprinting sessions. Simple as that, right? Whether that be actual sprinting on your feet, hill sprints, sprints outside, sprints on the treadmill, or things like stationary bike sprints, all right? Assault bike sprints, where you are going into that, again, 90 to 100% of your maximum heart rate. You should not be able to talk. You should not be able to have a comfortable conversation here. You should be totally exhausted by the end of it. But your zone 5 cardio sessions should be very short, 10 to 15 minutes max. All right. For the whole workout, around 25 to 35 minutes, including the warm up and the cool down. But actually working out and doing the sprints, maybe only a total of 6 minutes. All right, because you should only be doing 20-second sprints with a 2 to 3 minute rest, 5 or 6 or maybe 7 sprints. Do you see what I'm saying here, right? 7 sprints for 20 seconds is only 140 seconds. That's barely longer than 2 minutes of total sprinting time. But the whole workout, counting again the warm up, the rest time, and the cool down, is taking about 30, maybe 40 minutes. So zone 5 is all about high intensity, short interval sessions, building your VO2 max, another anaerobic exercise without air, focusing on what you consume, focusing on burning your carbohydrates for quick energy, and then also your nervous system priming. If you do zone 5 correctly, you're going to teach your body and your nervous system how to handle load more effectively and efficiently, which transfers to every other aspect of life, right? You're training in zone 5. That's going to prime your nervous system to be able to handle more stress in the boardroom, for example, on a sales call, in a sales meeting. You understand what I'm saying, right? So your training is starting to meet the demands of your mission in business. So I hope you understand, zone 5 is the most intense form of cardio. That 90 to 100% of your maximum heart rate should be short sprinting sessions. It should not be an hour long here. Your body can't handle that. If you want to do this correctly, you should be doing 1 zone 5 training per week. You should split it and you should move it around depending on where your leg days are, because leg day training in terms of strength training in the gym are the most taxing on your body and your nervous system in that aspect. Hypertrophy, strength, power building, right? But talking about cardio, you have to structure it intentionally to where it's maybe 2 to 3 days apart from your leg days so you can have your nervous system ready for that zone 5 training. And let me tell you something about this. You had a hard leg day yesterday, right? Yesterday also and the week prior have been chaotic, have been so busy and stressful at work. Your nervous system, your stress is already through the roof. It's going crazy. And so you're thinking, holy shit, I just need to get some cardio and I just need to go as hard as I can. This is the worst thing you could possibly do for your health and to your body, is go for a zone 5 training session, the most taxing on your body and nervous system after already hurting it from the week prior at work and your strength training sessions. And this is truly why it's so important to have the intentional cardio structure. All right. Again, you've had that hard week. You already had a hard week of training. Go for the zone 1, go for the zone 2 cardio for a couple of days so that you're still burning calories. You're still getting that fat oxidation, burning excess body fat, but staying in the parasympathetic nervous system, not spiking your cortisol, not hurting and taxing your central nervous system. So as you can tell, I'm very passionate about this subject and structuring your cardio so intentionally so that you can enhance your performance in life and not hinder it because of improper training. But that's as far as I'm going to get into it today. A little bit of a shorter video. I just wanted to introduce this idea to you so that you can understand the importance of proper cardio training for your life, and not just for looking good, not just to get a sweat, not just to feel good about yourself because you're totally exhausted every time you do some sort of cardio session. It should not be like that. You want to have it structured out to where you are getting and having a main goal. What am I doing and what am I trying to get out of today's cardio session? Do I want more recovery? Do I want to burn some body fat today? Or do I want to build my VO2 max? Do I want to prime my nervous system? right? You should have a goal behind every session for training with cardio and for training in the gym, which we haven't talked about, and I'll get into another video. But again, we're going to end it right there. Don't have too much time, keeping it short and introducing the idea to you today. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I want to make sure I answer all of them. If you comment, I will answer back to you to make sure that you understand all of these ideas. But zone training with your cardio, be intentional, stay structured, enhance your performance through your training. I'll see you all in the next video.